Hey gorgeous, welcome to Happy Go Fabulous. I am so thrilled that you're here. This is our space where we get real about life, the good, the messy and all the juicy bits in between. Real talk, real life and a whole lot of delicious living. But I must warn you, listening may cause unexpected outbreaks of fabulousness and real life magic. Hi, I'm Catherine and I am so incredibly passionate about helping inspired, motivated, impact-driven, freedom-seeking people just like you to do the deep inner work to create those beautiful outer wonders in life. It's all about revolutionising your relationship with yourself, where you fall madly, deeply in love with who you are and create a life so fabulous you can't wait to jump out of bed every morning to live it. Ready? Because ordinary living is so last season. Life's waiting and it's time to make it fabulous. Let's shimmy on in. Hey gorgeous, how are you? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm loving the podcast and thank you so much for all your wonderful feedback. I really enjoy that too. This week I'm going to be sharing with you some of my daily rituals. These are my non-negotiables. These are the ones that, when I say non-negotiable, maybe I do it 90% of the time. I can't put my hand on my heart and say I do it every day, but I do it most days. And the reason these are non-negotiable are that they just really set me up for a fantastic day and just a general fantastic living. So I've called the episode Living Fully, a peek into my non-negotiable daily rituals. Because when I'm talking with people, I often share what I do and they're really intrigued. And it's not to say that everybody should be doing these same rituals, even though I think they're incredibly powerful. I think come up with what works for you. These have worked for me and they've evolved over the years. So I started, I guess, my daily practice. I'll call it just daily practice, daily rituals. When I started venturing into really devoting myself to being the very best version of who I could be and living my best and most beautiful life, that these daily practices kind of started evolving. And it started off with, just doing some meditation and I added to that. So what I'm going to share with you is how I just go about parts of my day, not all of my day, because it's really, I bookend my day. My morning practice is the key. I have a little bit that I do of an evening, but my first thing in the morning practice is really the key for what I do, and that's about setting me up for the day. So I'm going to start. I start the night before. So my daily practice, let's start with the evening, that when I go to bed, so just as I'm about to head off to sleep, I will set what I call a nighttime intention. Now, for some people, the word prayer will resonate with them. Praying, that doesn't resonate with me, and that's probably a whole different podcast episode. But setting a nighttime intention is what I call it and what tends to resonate with me. And it's like, the reason I do it the night before, it's like in my business and my life, I write my to-do list for tomorrow when I finish work each evening. So it's almost like getting it out of my head, and then I can set myself up when I start work the next day that I already know kind of what I'm going to be focusing on. So when I'm heading off to bed, I will set a nighttime intention, and the nighttime intentions can be anything. It can be asking for assistance and guidance in relation to a specific thing that I'm working through. It can be like really wanting to get clarity on something. It could be handing over my worries and doubts to my support team, and my support team is my spiritual support team. So handing over, I might say, can you just help take this pain away? Can you help me to navigate whatever it is that I'm navigating? Can you give me some guidance and assistance in relation to whatever it is that I'm working on? Can you help me work out what the next steps are? Can you provide me with some insight into why I might be stuck in a certain area? Can you help me to get clarity around what the next steps in my business will be? Can you help me to get clarity around, and this is the ones that, and it's different each night. Like it's not like I ask the same thing over and over again, although there's probably periods where I have done that. But last night I had a beautiful conversation with a friend yesterday, and we were just talking about our respective, it was kind of like a mutual coaching session in all honesty. And we were talking about our respective businesses and helping each other to sort of think about some different ways and different options for moving forward. And yesterday I was sharing, I've had this beautiful program, in the forefront of my mind, not in the back of my mind, but in the forefront of my mind. And I've just had some resistance about it. And we were sort of working through why have I got the resistance. And, there's some bits that popped up. But when I set my nighttime intention last night, so it's like I'd like just some clarity around the program that I'm running. And that was kind of as much as I asked. I didn't say what the resistance is. What is it that I need to know about this program that I've been thinking about? So that's what I did. And then I go to sleep. And so that's my evening. That's about as ritualistic as I get of an evening. I don't do any more things. I mean, I do a whole lot of things, but when I'm going to bed, that's the sort of start of my daily rituals for the next day. So then I have generally an okay sleep. I tend to go to sleep maybe around 10:30 or so, but I wake up. I'm a 5 a.m. generally. Sometimes I might sleep in a little bit longer, but my body clock is around about 5 a.m. And so when I wake up, I don't set an alarm unless I have to be somewhere specific, but I don't set an alarm. My body clock is like, yep, ready to wake up. So waking up naturally. Then the first thing I do is just lie and say, what insight do I have from my guidance team? So I'm receiving, and sorry, I'll backtrack to my nighttime intentions. When I'm asking those nighttime intentions, I say, can you present it to me in a way that I understand and I will remember? Now, I'll be really honest with you. Not every morning when I wake up, I go, oh, thank you, team. That's really, really clear. But a lot of the time I do. And there's sometimes when I wake up, so the first thing is receiving that guidance from my nighttime intentions. So I lie there, and what is it? Well, it's fresh in my mind before I'm in that fully awake state. So what is it that came to me during the night? And I won't spill the beans on what came to me from last night's night intention. I'll do that in a minute. But sometimes when I wake up, I don't get oh, yes, here's the answer. But very often I will remember an experience that I've had during my dream state where there have been shifts in my, how do I say it to you? It's like in my DNA. It's almost like there's been a reprogramming happening. And so I remember that there's been almost like an upgrade. And it's like I remember that there's an upgrade, but I don't know the specific details of it. That is very cool. And then there's very sort of subtle shifts that happen as a result of that, and sometimes really profound shifts. But that tends to be very common for me, that I will go, oh, that something happened last night. There's been an upgrade and it just feels very different. Sometimes I will wake up going, oh, the dream I had was about, and then I sort of do the dream interpretations going, oh, there's my answer there. Sometimes I will wake up and just go, no, I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing. And that's okay as well. Like, it's not every day that the answer comes to me first thing in the morning, but quite often there is a feeling that there has been a response. Sometimes the answer will come to me later in the day or sometime later after that. So receive, so I don't jump straight out of bed. I lie and receive the messages and tap into that while I can remember. And if there is something really profound, I have a journal, I have a notebook on my bedside table. If there's something really profound, I will just write it down in that, just so I can capture before it actually goes out of my consciousness. So I will write that down. I then I have a shower. So I get up, I have a shower, and in the shower there's a practice, and I get my best messages, my best ideas in the shower. And I haven't organised it yet, but in a group I was in the other day, somebody said they had a waterproof notebook, and that's on my list of getting that for myself, because there's a lot of ideas that come when I'm in the shower. And I think it's when we're in that still, quiet state and we're opening up to receive. But there was a practice that I learnt, maybe it was 6, 5, 4, gosh, I can't even remember. I think it was before COVID, years ago, when I was doing a program with Tori Archbold. And Tori, it was a business program. And she said that a Buddhist monk had shared with her a practice about, in the shower, putting 3 dollops of lavender oil on your décolletage. So while you're in the shower, you put the 3 drops of lavender oil on your décolletage, so across your chest. And then that sort of opens up, because lavender is a very relaxing, calming oil, essential oil. And that then opens up to receive guidance. And that was a really beautiful practice. And I do that every morning in the shower. I have the lavender oil. And so the messages and the ideas that I get are amplified in the shower. And Tori has written a book called Self-Belief is Your Superpower. And she wrote a chapter on this practice. And I think she's writing another book about this practice as well. But she featured me in her book. So it's called Self-Belief is Your Superpower. And she featured me because I shared that I got some very poignant guidance from this practice. Like, it really helped me, and it really opened up my intuition and receiving. So that was very cool. But I do that practice today, still every day, is the lavender oil. So I have the shower, and then I do a walking meditation. Now, when I do my morning walk, it's not power walking, it's not exercise, it's a walking meditation for me. And this is a non-negotiable. And I get to do it at the beach most days now that I'm here at this gorgeous, gorgeous seaside sanctuary. But if I don't do it at the beach, I do it walking along our driveway. When I was in Canberra, I would do it as part of my morning walk when I would take Boston for a walk. And walking meditations are incredibly powerful for me. And I think I've mentioned this before in other episodes. When I was creating the labyrinth, and when I had done different retreats and, sitting quietly meditating, I can do that. Walking meditations, that body, being in your body and movement is really, really powerful for me. So I'm going to take you through the process. It might sound like it's really long-winded. It's probably going to take me longer to talk about than to actually do. I would say this whole practice, I could probably do it in 5 minutes now, but most mornings I do it in about, say, 15 to 20. So I go through a process of my this walking meditation, and the first thing I do is to connect and to ground myself. So I imagine a cord around my waist that is connecting and going down my body and then into Mother Earth, and connecting and grounding me. So it goes into the earth and then just really anchors very deeply into the earth. So that's a grounding practice for me. So I visualize this, and then I visualize a light going up through my body to connect me with spirit. So, and then it's kind of like I breathe in, and I breathe out, where I'm connecting, where I'm grounding and also connecting with spirit. And depending on, sometimes that changes, that the image changes into different coloured lights, or it might be like a pranic tube of energy that's coming down from spirit, connecting me, going through me into Mother Earth and grounding me, and then the energy from Mother Earth going back up through to spirit as well. So depending on, but it's always that connecting piece. And and then I cleanse my energy as I'm doing that. So I'm connecting, then I'm cleansing my energy. And I do that with a purple, it's generally purple energy that's actually just cleansing anything that has attached itself to me, through the night previously, just to really cleanse the energy internally, externally, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And then I do a protection. So I imagine, and then different kind of images come for me when I'm doing the protection. It's almost like this, I don't know what they call them. Are they Zorb balls? It's almost like that bubble around me that nothing shitty can get in. Good things can penetrate, but nothing shitty can penetrate. But my energy can actually be released through the protection field. So that just happens just very, very quickly. And just on the side, I remember when I was first practicing this protection piece, I just went, I'm going to imagine that I've got this skin, this energetic skin over me, and it's not going to let anything in, and it's going to be super, super tight, and it'll only I don't even think I practiced about letting my good energy out. But then I remember I was getting really hot, and there was days that I was going, oh my God, I feel like I can't breathe properly. And this is when I realized that my visualization was incredibly powerful, because I had put this energy protection so tightly over me. It was like my body couldn't even breathe. And it was just like, okay, that one, let's not use that visualization. So now I just go for a more conducive energy protection around me. And sometimes I know when I'm in with my coaching clients, I don't do this so much anymore, but people have asked me about protection before. I used to imagine this figure 8 that would go around me, meet in the middle, and then go around my coaching clients. So we were each in our sides of the figure 8, and it was an energy protection field, and then our energies could meet in the moment, but we were in the middle. But we were both protected, and we wouldn't let our energies seep out into the others. Because when you're in the coaching space, you're in this really intimate space with others. And so that just happens very, very organically now. But for anybody wanting to protect their energy, there's some different ways that you can do that. So that's the first bit, grounding and clearing and protecting. Then I move into imagining the qualities of my ideal self. So I made a commitment years and years and years and years and years ago that I wanted to be the very best version of myself. And from that time, I have imagined, what does the very, 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 very best version of myself look like? What are her qualities? How does she think? How does she move? How does she feel? What does she do? What are her ways of living? So I would just go through imagining. It was almost like this little fast forward video in my mind of the qualities of my ideal self. Then last year, when I had an Akashic Records reading for myself, and I had met a new reader, I guess, that took me through that journey. She said, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this before, but what I am actually seeing, Catherine, is your ascended self with you. And I was just like, oh, that's the version of me. When I've been imagining my qualities of my ideal self, because it's like this version of me, this future version of me is with me each morning. And so when I had this Akashic Records reading, she was saying, this is your ascended higher self who is with you. It's just like, oh, that's the version of me that comes to me each morning in the walking meditation. And so I still go through and imagine the qualities of my ideal self, but I connect with this version of myself that has been me, that is the future me. It's fucking trippy. Oh my God, this is cool stuff. This has taken my whole meditation to a completely different level. So when I'm walking along the beach, I connect with her and she gives me guidance, and she is me, so she understands what I'm feeling, and she speaks from the future, she speaks from the past, she speaks from the present, and it's just like, oh my goodness, that has just taken my practice to a completely new level. Love. Like, that's powerful in itself. So when I spend time with her, and sometimes it's a quick spending time with her, sometimes it's longer, and she comes back to me through meditation as well. So that is very, very cool. So then the next part in my sort of daily practice, or the morning practice, is I review my life values. So when I've spent time with thinking about the qualities of my ideal self and spending time with my ascended higher self, I then focus on my life values. So what's important to me in life? Happiness, health, and living a rich, beautifully abundant life. So I go through a little visualization about happiness and doing what makes me happy, being with people who make me happy, and just being happy. So visualizing myself. So it's a really quick little vignette that I do. Health is that I am healthy, and I'll share with you the next step that I go through, which actually links back to this healthy one as well. But it's actually about seeing myself as the healthiest version that I can be. And what is it that I need to know to get back into being that healthiest version of me? And then I go through, and what I do here is, what does a rich and beautifully abundant life look like for me? But I've got two little wells that I visit. So this is another little visualization that I do. And I know, remember I said this is probably, it's taking me longer to explain than it is to do, but I have a gratitude well, and I have a creation and manifesting well. So I go through and say, what does living a beautifully rich and abundant life look like that I have? I'm living in this gorgeous space here. I have time. I have an abundance of people, beautiful people that I hang out with. I have an abundance of energy. I have an abundance of beautiful experiences. I have great opportunities in life. And sure, finance is part of that, but it comes right down the list. It's about, I'm all the things that make up my beautifully rich and abundant life. So I sort of do a little snapshot of what that means for me. Then I go to my two wells, so my gratitude well, and I just give thanks. It's just like, I'm just so grateful for all of these things in my life. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for where I live. Oh God, I'm just so grateful that this is my lifestyle. I'm so grateful that I get to hang out with John and just have these wonderful experiences. I'm so grateful that I've got gorgeous kids and we have such beautiful relationships. I'm so grateful that I have a wonderful family. I'm so grateful that, Bosty's healing and he's not limping at the moment and he's getting better and better. I'm so grateful that I'm also healing as well. And I'm just so grateful. So I just pour all of this gratitude into my gratitude well. And then I move to my manifesting well. And it's just like, I give thanks for all the things that I'm manifesting in my life. And it's about, I go through and think about the big things that I'm manifesting. So some goals around myself and some health goals and some lifestyle goals as well. I go through and give thanks in my manifesting well for what it is that I'm bringing in for my work as well, and also my home and my lifestyle. So it's almost like I'm visualizing these elements. So giving thanks for what I have, and then moving to the manifesting world, giving thanks for what it is that I'm calling in. So I think generally, but then very specifically. So what are those health goals? What are my personal goals? What does that look like for me? And I know them intimately enough because I can just flick through them in my mind, but I'm focusing on each one. And then, so I do that at my wells, my gratitude and my manifesting wells. Then I do this really quick little practice around, I call it my inner smile, and it's about activating this endorphin response. So what I do is I start from the top of my head and I go through all the parts of my body, and I'm just imagining. Actually, I'm doing it in real life. If you can see me, you can see the changes. But I'm smiling to all of the parts of me. I'm smiling to my brain. I'm smiling to my mind. I'm smiling to my eyes and my face and my internal and external and all the organs that I've got. And I just work my way down. So my muscles, my skin, all the organs, my heart, my digestion, my tummy, my legs, my knees, my feet, and then it kind of is just smiling. So I call it just doing my inner smile. And I can do that really quite quickly. And that's just activating an endorphin response. And then I set my intentions for the day. So what is it that I want to have happen in the day ahead? So today I'm recording my podcast. I've got an admin day today. I've got a lot of admin to do. And so when I was walking this morning, I set the intention that when I record the podcast, that technology works, that the ideas flow, that it all just happens how it's meant to happen, and that then it will just seamlessly happen. That I'm able to do my admin. I've got a few proposals that I'm writing for a corporate job, so I'm setting an intention about those coming to fruition, and I'm also setting my intention about clarity with the insight that I get from the night before. So I set my intentions for the day ahead, and then so that kind of the non-negotiable, that's like a little walking meditation that I do, and that gets me to the end of the beach. So as I said, that's sort of a 15, 20-minute walking meditation. Took me longer to explain it. But then when I get to the end of the beach, and this is also non-negotiable, if I'm not walking on the beach, I will do this throughout the day. But because it's part of the practice in the morning that I do it at the beach, I journal. And then I do have a connection with source, with my guides, and I process information that has sort of come to me. So this is about the opening up and receiving. And so this morning, when I said earlier in this episode about I'd set my nighttime intentions about getting some clarity on the program that I'm going to run, and it didn't come to me straight away when I woke up this morning, but when I started journaling, and I was journaling about something different today, but this spark just came through and said, in relation to that program, the way that you've been thinking about it is you're locking yourself into a one-size-fits-all, that doing it differently it's a combination of the ideas that you've had. So you've been thinking either or, one or the other. It's actually going to be a combination of the two. And so this was in relation to a particular program that, remember I said that I've had some resistance around. And when I got that message this morning when I was journaling that it's a combination of the two, it was like these floodgates opened and I went, oh my gosh, that really excites me. And I can see how that would fit together. And it has also freed up the way that I was going to deliver these programs. It's just given... it's almost like, how would I describe it? It's almost like I had a fence and I was thinking about things in a very defined way. It's like that fence has just disappeared. So now it is much more free flowing. And so that's the guidance. That's the answer to the question that I had the night before, but it didn't come to me straight away. And sometimes, I'll be really honest with you, I don't always make the connection that I've got an answer to what I've asked for. Sometimes it's very, very obvious. And maybe today, because I set the intention about the podcast as well, maybe that came through for me to share in the podcast. I would suggest that that's what it's done. So I will, sometimes when I will journal on something specific. I've mentioned those 33 days resets or 33 days of devotion where I'm just asking one specific question. That's what I'll do for 33 days. That's what my journaling will be about. And I was actually doing that this morning. I'm on day 6 of a new 33 days of devotion, and it's about allowing and receiving. And when I was allowing, I was just, that's the focus, is about allowing myself to receive. And this lightning bolt thought came through around my programs, and it was about being able to receive the information but think about things differently. So the journaling is, it's a non-negotiable, but I don't have a rigid, I have to do it a certain way. Sometimes my journaling will be sitting up at the labyrinth and just scratching down a few little thoughts and then being able to release those. So I will do some form of journaling. Some years ago, I would do that, I think they call it daily pages, and I would just write 3 pages. I would just limit myself. As soon as I woke up, I would just write 3 pages of whatever came into my mind. I kind of just do that in my mind now. So they are my, that's just a little peek into my non-negotiable daily rituals. There's a whole lot of other things that I do more spontaneously or more ritualistic in relation to certain, times, full moon, new moon, solstice, equinox, time in my life and things like that. There's things that I will do that are intentional, but they're not an everyday thing. What I've gone through, what I do in the morning, and so you can hear that there's much more in the morning than there is of an evening. So that's non-negotiable. That's absolutely non-negotiable. And there's one last little thing that I forgot to mention, but thinking about what wonderful thing is going to happen today. Just opening up that awe-inspiring, that's how I finish, what wonderful thing is going to happen today. And then I do think throughout the day, what are the wonderful things, but I set that. So if you are interested, I'll put it in the show notes, but I have a little free resource that you can access called The Power of Micro Habits. It's about, this sounds like a lot, and this will be a lot for some people. You will just go, oh my God, I'm not doing all of that. Habits are incredibly powerful. And I think it's about starting with just micro habits, something that you can, just one small little thing that you can change. Even if you just started with setting a nighttime intention and paying attention to what you receive in the morning, that might be it. Or maybe you just start with imagining the qualities of your ideal self, and that's it. Or maybe you just do that smiling inner smile where you just activate that endorphin response. Or you might have your own practice that you do. But my suggestion is if you don't have a practice or if you're wanting to build on it, just do little bits at a time. Then they will become a habit, and then you can add something else if you need to. You might not need to. But for me, this is about setting me up for the day. And if I don't do this, I know I just feel wobbly. I feel wobbly. When I first moved here, I'd lost some of that practice and I wasn't doing it for a while, and I felt really disconnected. And then when I reintroduced it again, it was just like, that feels really good. So if you want, check out the little free resource in the show notes, The Power of Micro Habits, and see you next time. Hugs and great big happiness to you. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Happy Go Fabulous. I hope you loved it. if you did, could I ask a big favour? Please subscribe, leave a review, and most importantly, share the love and let your besties know about the podcast. This will help get it into the hearts and ears of all the gorgeous souls who need a little bit of fabulous in their life. If you'd like some more high vibe happiness in your life, come and visit me on my Happiness Hive socials and make sure you've signed up to my newsletter, your weekly drop of juicy goodness. Pop over to my Happiness Hive website and click on the link Working with Catherine. I'd love to help you make life amazing. Until next time, keep being fabulous.